Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Catholic Spotlight, and my guest today is Father Edmund Vargas, who is pastor at St. Michael Catholic Community in Calgary. Thanks for joining us today, Father.
Thank you also for this opportunity.
All right, so we've got the ashes on our foreheads here. It's Ash Wednesday while we're taping this, and tell me, Father, the significance of Ash Wednesday and how does it mark the beginning of Lent for people and for Catholics?
The words that we use are two formulas, basically repent and believe in the good news, and the other one is you are dust, and unto dust you shall return. It tells us actually our source or our origins that we are creatures of God, and that we are mortal and we'll go back to Him, and that our life is actually about doing what He wants us to do rather than doing what we want to do. So, I mean, that's basically how I see it.
Hmm.
So,
So tell
it's
me,
an important aspect of this Lenten practice.
so tell me then, what is the meaning behind the actual ashes, and maybe describe as well for people who don't know. A lot of people who are Catholics probably don't know the origin of the ashes, like where the ashes come from.
Yeah, this comes from the Palm Sunday leaves that we waved, and then that is burnt, and then we actually are symbolizing the mortality that we inherit, and that we are returning to that. And of course, there is that aspect of our spiritual life that will continue on forever. And Lenten season is about reawakening this spirit in us
Hmm.
rather than living by the flesh. We try to, reawaken the spirit by telling ourselves not to eat even when we are hungry because we fast. We leave an emptiness in our heart and our soul so that God can enter into our life. So basically, that's how I think this spirit of the practice of the imposition of the ashes on our foreheads.
Okay.
And basically, it is also something that reminds us of our spiritual life, and that we should begin again to live by the spirit rather than by the physical life that we are known to live, because we live in a material world,
Hmm.
and everything is material. Everything that is supposed to be, accomplished is material, but sometimes we forego or even overlook the importance of the spirit, which at the end will eventually be the only one that will survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So, when it comes to this Lenten period, there's many practices, from almsgiving, sorry, to
prayer and
and
fasting. So these are the three pillars,
the
so to
three
speak.
pillars. Tell me, like how those help people spiritually on their journey to Easter.
Yeah, first of all, say, for example, when you pray more intensely, or shall we say, you take time really to spend some kind of time to reflect on what God really wants you to do. It opens up actually our hearts and our spirits to God's spirit. It's not closing that kind of pathway for God to enter into our lives. Of course, God doesn't gate crush, so to speak, our lives, but He wants us to open our hearts. They say that the heart can only be opened from within. I mean, the door is locked from within, and if it is always locked, there is no vacancy. God cannot talk to us or can enter into our lives. So
Mhm.
that is first aspect of this pillar of our Lenten practice. The second is the same thing. When we fast, we actually make the decision to deprive our physical need in order to acknowledge the importance of the spirit. To say, for example, empathize with those who are hungry, and of course to pay for our offenses and penalties that we have incurred in the past. And so this is something that can actually reawaken this sense of soul,
Mm.
because sometimes we can lose our soul, right?
Yeah.
We can be lost souls. And when we are lost, when we get out of this physical body, we have nowhere to go because we don't know where to go unless we know how to go to God. And that is where we should be going at the end of our lives. So that is fasting that can lead us to this reawakening of the spirit. It will strengthen our spirit by, in a way, weakening the flesh.
Hmm.
So the flesh can be subdued in order for the spirit to soar. And I think the other one is almsgiving. So we think more of others, not our own physical needs, and we kind of create an emptiness for God. It is also a kind of an attitude of thanksgiving, less of our sense of entitlement to the things that we possess, which of course at the end is coming from God's blessings and His graces that He has given us through the years. So acknowledgement of the gifts and talents and the blessings that we have received from God is can motivate us to be in the spirit of sharing, to give and share what is needed by others. So we think not in terms of ourselves, but in terms of the needs of others. God has always assured us that if we take care of others, especially the poor,
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
we will be taken care of by God Himself.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee. And people who have given testaments about their giving will always tell us that the more they give, the more even they receive, in order for God to make it possible that you give more and more as you receive more and more. So,
Mm.
but if you keep what you acquire, sometimes you can lose it because you don't know what to do with it anyway. So
I
it's
know.
important that we have that spirit of sharing. So that summarizes the three, shall we say,
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
it should be marked with prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So,
So tell me, Father, like when most people focus on the fasting part of it, right? And giving something up, right? That they want to give something up. What advice do you have for people from that part of it? Because it's not hard. It was not hard. It is hard to say, okay, I'm gonna give up beer for
yeah, it's, I mean, the physical part of
yeah,
that fasting and sharing is an easier way of doing what is required by the season of Lent, but the more difficult would be those kind of invisible realities like hatred, indifference, forgiveness is something that is mandated,
yeah,
and those are more difficult to realize and to embark on.
yeah,
Like for example, some people don't have any kind of social media during Lent, but the thing is, it also, of course, deprives them of the opportunity to share what is good about the season of Lent. And,
yeah.
people who are off the social media will even hear us about this podcast or something. But the point I'm making here is, the spiritual and more invisible uh, efforts can be more difficult to be given up. rather than, chocolate or coffee.
Yeah.
I once, over the years, gave up coffee, but my secretaries were all telling me, Father, don't give it up because you're
Uh,
not yourself when you are not with coffee.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Well,
Yeah,
that's wonderful. And okay, well, that's super. I appreciate you taking a few minutes here, Father
yeah,
Edmund, to discuss Ash Wednesday and Lent and shed
that's
some
good.
light on this. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Okay, have a good Lenten journey.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you around.
All right, that was Father Edmund Vargas with the St. Michael Catholic Community in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Catholic Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.